Hey guys, welcome back to exponentialfreedom.com. This is Ben Sturdivant with the training today about creating a winning culture. You know, if you were to ask me what's important in building a successful team, it's creating a culture that breeds success. So what I'm going to talk to you about is 10 core qualities that I feel create a winning culture. We're going to talk about the 5 levels of belief. We're going to talk about an exposure commitment. I call it 5 by 5. We're going to talk about following a simple system. We're going to talk about attending all events. We're going to talk about being a student and falling in love with the profession. We're going to talk about doing the right things at all times and being a product of the product. We're going to talk about creating a retail culture in the midst of this. And we're going to talk about daily personal development time and, of course, not ever quitting. Now, I want to preface this training with a little bit of maybe a caution or a warning. In no way do I want to take away from your core qualities or core commitments or whatever you call it in your company. I don't want to try to suggest that my way is the best way. This is just what I feel are some of the more important key things to focus on when you're trying to build a successful organization. So let's talk about the first one. We're talking about the 5 levels of belief. And in a previous training, we talked about going all in and really selling yourself out. And that's really what this is. In order for you to be truly successful with your opportunity, you've got to have all levels of these beliefs shored up. You've got to have belief in your leaders, not just the leaders in your company, but the leaders in your team as well. You have to have, of course, belief in your product. It makes no sense to be a part of something if you don't believe in the product. You have to believe in the company that you're a part of. Are they ethical? Do they do the right things? You have to believe in the profession that you're a part of, and that's, of course, network marketing and really selling yourself out in those areas. And you have to believe in yourself. And that's probably the hardest one. It requires a tremendous amount of reprogramming. And when you look at these 5 things here, I want you to understand that really none of them have anything to do with the compensation or the timing. There are people in every network marketing company out there, regardless of how old they are. Some of them are 50 years old who are joining now and will be successful and create millions of dollars over the next 5 to 10 years with their company. It's not about the latest get rich, overnight startup company. You don't need that stuff. What you need is strong leadership that you believe in, a product you can get passionate about and get behind, a company that you trust, and an ultimate passion about network marketing. And then what you have to do is believe that you can do this. So if you're looking at personal development, we'll talk about that a little bit later in our core beliefs here, core qualities. If you're looking at something to focus on when it comes to personal development, it's really perfecting these 5 areas of belief. I think it's critical to your success. So that's number 1. Number 2 is creating some kind of habit of activity per day. Now, you don't have to do what I do. Some people recommend talking to 2 people a day. Some people recommend talking to 3, 5, whatever your number is. I really don't care. On our team, we call it 5 by 5. 5 people a day, 5 days a week. And the reason that I do that is because it's a very manageable number. Now, I'm not saying that we need to go present the business to 5 people a day. A part-time person probably can't do that. What I am talking about is exposures. Exposures are, maybe just reaching out and connecting with someone and saying, hey, how's it going? And you put them on your list, and maybe eventually it leads to them looking at your first look tool, whatever that might be, a DVD presentation. We'll talk about that too in our system. But if you're exposing 5 people a day, 5 days a week, that's 100 people a month that you're exposing. Now, it shouldn't take you more than a few minutes to expose someone to your business. And that's my personal commitment. I'll talk more about following a simple system here in a moment, but it really shouldn't take very long for you to make an exposure to someone. So I think this is very realistic for a part-time person. 5 people a day, a few minutes, 5 minutes each, that's 25 minutes, a day. If you want to make it, even a little bit more realistic, maybe you're spending 10 minutes with each person a day. That's 50 that's 50 minutes. That's an hour a day. That's very realistic. And it's something that people can create a habit with. So that's 100 people a month. But here's the ultimate goal. It's to begin to get success. And if you're getting a 5% success rate. That means out of those 100 people, 95 are telling you no. That's 5 distributors per month that you're enrolling by yourself. And I don't think you should just shoot for one. You hear that, we'll just focus on getting one a month. To heck with that. Go get more. There's no reason you shouldn't be having this kind of success rate. Don't settle. Improve yourself. You might have to work on growing yourself, but 5 distributors a month, that's pretty powerful. But here's where the next step comes in. So many people in network marketing stop right here. They think, okay, I've got my 5 people, and I'm going to go get my 5 people the next month. You're going to do that, but what you also need to do is you need to hold your team accountable to this as well. 10 team members exposing 5 people a day. That's 250 exposures per week. That's 1,000 per month instead of just 100. See, you can only accomplish so much by yourself. And if you're getting 1,000 exposures a month and you get a 5% success rate of that, that's 50 distributors per month joining your team. If you have 100 team members following that system, that's 2,500 exposures per month or per week. That's 10,000 per month, and that's 500 distributors per month. See, this is how you create a 6-figure income in network marketing. It's really not that hard. You don't need thousands of team members that are out there producing. You need a handful of people. 100 people on a team following a system can produce very big results for you in our business. So I think this is pretty reasonable. But let's talk about the system that you're taking people through. Now, I'm being very generic here. I'm not going to get real specific because I think every team is different. They follow a different system, and I completely am respectful of that. I'm not trying to tell you that you should do it a certain way, but pretty much every network marketing company follows the same type of process, this same funnel, information funnel, I call it, where we're just guiding people through the discovery of information about your opportunity. And every team does it differently. So, get together with your leadership if you haven't already, or take a look at your company manual and look at what yours is. But ultimately, your system should follow this pattern where you're generating a lead, whether it's someone you know or don't know, doesn't matter. You're creating some sort of interest, could be a phone call, could be a private Facebook message asking them if they'd be open to looking at something and then sending them an email. It could be reaching out to them via text. However you communicate with people, that's the best way to create interest. I always tell people, go with what you're comfortable with and what you think they'd be comfortable with, and run with that. Don't try to force something on people that's not comfortable to them, because guys, they're not going to do it. All right. So we're going to create some type of interest. That could be an advertisement, right? Where you're driving to a lead capture page. There's a lot of different ways to create interest, but the ultimate goal is to show the plan, to get them in front of your presentation, whether it's live or recorded. Our team likes to use we have a little 10, 11 minute introductory presentation. It doesn't talk about the compensation plan a whole lot. It doesn't really get into the details of the product. It's really more just selling them on the concept and the brilliance of it. And every network marketing company has a brilliant concept to it that they can present. But however you do it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, I like the recorded version because it's 24/7. You could give someone a DVD, to make the presentation. If you follow a home meeting kind of process, maybe you're having someone come over to your home, or you're going to their home, or you're sitting down doing a 2-on-1 presentation, or it could be a hotel meeting, it could be a webcast, it could be a conference call. Whatever system your team uses, that's the next step. And then there's the validation. Now, a lot of people think that if they've created interest, they've presented, that people should join. And the reality, guys, is most prospects need about 4 to 6 exposures to information before they make a decision. So your first presentation is an exposure. From there, when you're following up with someone, you're asking them, you're taking their temperature. You might say something like, based on what you've seen on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10, I'm ready to get started right now, or 1, this isn't for me, where do you think you stand? Anything over a 1, you're going to take them to the next step in the process. And that next step is the validation, which is could be a live presentation if you haven't done that yet. Could be another type of presentation. Maybe you had them get on a website. Now you're going to take them to a live call or a webinar. That's what we do. It could be a live meeting, could be a hotel meeting, could be a larger meeting. What you're doing is every time you're going to the next exposure, we're bringing it up a notch in terms of importance. Could be this is a great time for a three-way call to the upline. I always tell people that I'm working with that I'll do as many three-way calls with you as you want. All I ask is that they've seen a presentation first. See, a lot of new distributors in network marketing think that if they just could get their upline on the phone, their upline is going to talk them into the business. That's the complete opposite of what they'll do. A good upline will recognize that the person's not interested immediately and they'll get off the phone very quickly. And the new distributor will kind of be left there thinking, well, you just killed it for me. Well, no, I just saved us a tremendous amount of time instead of dealing with someone who this wasn't right for, we're moving on to find someone who it is right for. And the best way is to sort that person out. And that's kind of what the simple system is all about. So validation, the three-way call to the upline is great. Using tools other than you is the critical thing. And then what you're doing is you're ultimately pushing them to the next exposure until you get a decision. Who cares how many exposures it takes to get them to make a decision? We don't care if they join or not. We care that they're in the process, they're getting educated, and we're moving them to the next step, always setting appointments for another exposure follow-up. If you get a yes, of course, you plug them in, you train them. That's your new distributor orientation. I'm sure every company out there has that. And if you don't, reach out to me and I'll help you customize one for your team. If they say no, this isn't the business for them, you want to approach them as customers. Too many people give up too quickly. It doesn't matter what product you have. If you believe in your product, which you should, and we'll talk more about that soon, but if you believe in your product, you need to tell people about it. You need to get people benefiting from it. So approach them as a customer, okay? So that's the simple system, and we could spend hours going through this, but that's the basic culture or process that you want to be following. Number 4, okay, and again, we're talking about creating a winning culture. These are things that we want people in our team to do in order to duplicate in order to have a successful team. We want to attend all events possible. Why all events? It keeps you plugged in. It keeps you motivated. It builds synergy in your team. It helps you grow as a leader. It helps your team grow as leaders. They learn by being around the more successful people. It helps you create and maintain momentum. It adds social and third-party validation. You being there obviously leads by example. You can't expect someone else to go if you're not there. And of course, the major functions, the national events, are what I call the glue that holds your team together. See, a meeting, a webinar, a conference call, that can recruit someone, but these larger events are what hold it all together, okay? And events are so important because you need to get reconnected all the time with why you're so excited about your business, because there's a lot of things out there they're going to try to take that excitement away. So this is critical. Attending events is a big aspect of being successful in your organization and creating a winning culture. Number 5, you've got to fall in love with the profession. You really want to be a student of the profession. Study the history of multi-level marketing. Be excited about what this is. And when you can understand what a legitimate multi-level marketing company is and not just a money game, when you have how I define it is a company that has a product that has real value in the marketplace, that just has a compensation plan attached to it. Okay, you really need to sell yourself out on our profession and not be afraid to tell someone that's MLM. Here's my concern. I see companies that are multi-level marketing opportunities that have multi-level marketing compensation plans who have people teaching their distributors to tell people it's not MLM, as if they're embarrassed by it for some reason. You need to get over that real quickly. And how you do that is by being a student of this profession, subscribing to industry publications like Network Marketing Times. There's lots of tools out there. First Class MLM Tools from Tim Sales is a great set of videos where you can really educate yourself. Tim Sales was the guy who created that video a long time ago called Brilliant Compensation, and he's kind of expanded on that, and he really hammers home the brilliance, if you will, of this profession. Beach Money by Jordan Adler is a great book to read. Mailbox Money by Richard Brooke is one of the all-time favorites that really hammers home the concept of why this makes so much sense for people. But ultimately, guys, what you have to understand is that you have something here that can help people, okay? You've got to believe that. Yes, people fail, okay? But people fail in everything. A friend of mine is a trainer at a gym, And he was kind of skeptical to the network marketing thing. And he said to me, Ben, I have a hard time with, with making money off of people when I know that a large percent of them are going to fail. And I said, wait a minute, how long have you been a trainer? And he said, over 15 years. And how many people have you trained in that time period? Probably over 1,000. Okay, and he charges people like $100 a session, and most of them have at least 5 sessions, if not more. Okay, so we're talking $500. And I asked him, how many people follow through and are successful with your program? And he said less than 5%. So I said, wait a minute, how do you sleep at night? How do you sleep at night knowing that over 95% of the people who give you money to teach them are going to fail at what you're teaching them? And you should have seen the look on his face. It was like a light bulb going off. And you just have to step back and realize that the great thing about network marketing is also the bad thing. The great thing is that it's very inexpensive, so anyone can get involved. That's also a bad thing because anyone can get involved. Not everyone is at the right point in their life where they're ready to commit to building a successful network marketing business, and understanding that is very critical. Okay, so really selling yourself out. Attend MLM functions, good ones that are run. Art Jonak is a friend of mine, and he runs an event called Network Marketing Mastermind, and I've been to 4 now. Outstanding events. They hold them once a year, usually towards the fall. And you can, I think if you go to mastermindevent.com, you can look at that. I know there's other leaders out there that hold generic events as well, and yeah, they're going to be selling some tools there, but you know what? You've got to grow yourself, and these events are very powerful. They're also very powerful to network with other leaders in our profession. Now, you got to be a little careful here, because there are some people out there that attend these events with one goal in mind, and that is to network, to recruit. I don't believe that's what you should do. I think you should network to grow yourself and to tie yourself into the profession. I don't network with Art Jonak to try to recruit him into my company. I network with him because he's a good guy. He has great information to share, and I need a crutch to lean on. See, guys, all of these things that are out there, like these events and these tools and this education, they're crutches for you to lean on. When you start to get wobbly with your belief, when you start to experience the adversity of network marketing and the challenges that go along with building a business here, you need these crutches to lean on, and other leaders that you can network with is very important. Now, you got to be careful. Again, you're going to have to have a good, what I call integrity radar, because there's some people out there that just lack integrity. They lack character. They lack moral. They lack, what I call industry morals, which is you don't take someone who's committed and excited about learning about their business and try to get them into your company. That's just not, it's not right. If they come to you and say, hey, I'm not happy with where I am, or I'm considering other options and I'd like to compare or evaluate your company, that's different. You can have that conversation, but you don't seek out to destroy. Okay, that's not fair, because it's not just hurting them, it's hurting the other people that they're associated with. So very important, falling in love with your profession, becoming a student of the profession. Number 6, and we kind of segued into this on purpose, doing the right things, having integrity. Set a high standard for integrity in your team. Don't lie to prospects about how much money you're making. Don't lie to your team. Follow through on the promises that you make. If you say you're going to be available for 3-way calls, available for 3-way calls. If you say you're going to be somewhere in an event, be there. Attend those events. Lead by example. You don't need to steal cross-line prospects. I see this a lot in organizations all over network marketing. Doesn't matter which company. Guys, there's plenty of people out there for everyone, and be a professional, I think, is what it comes down to. If you look at other professions like real estate, for example, there's a code that they follow. They don't steal each other's clients, and it's the same in our profession. Okay, edify other people, edify other companies. You don't need to tear people down. Yes, there's some not so good companies that have come into network marketing, and there's going to be, doesn't matter where you are. There's some pretty bad real estate companies that came into fruition during the housing boom in the United States. Okay. There's some unethical physicians that are out there, overbilling and taking advantage of people. There's unethical people on Wall Street, obviously. I mean, we've seen that with all this, the fraud and the billions and billions of dollars of Ponzi schemes. These are not network marketing companies. These are what are considered major professions. Doesn't matter. Anytime there's an opportunity to make money, you're going to have people who attempt to take advantage of the situation. And that's not just in our profession. Okay. So, open up your eyes to that. All right. And open up your eyes to the fact that we're a profession and treat it like that. If something doesn't seem right, if it seems questionable, just don't do it. Okay. And ultimately, multiple income streams doesn't mean multiple MLMs. Now, I'm going to get some flack from this, and I understand that. But here's the thing. There's a very small percentage of people out there that have the ability and capability to work more than one opportunity simultaneously. Now, who are those people? They're people that have lists of hundreds of thousands of people. Typically, these are marketers that have been around a long time. I have a few in my organization, and they can market, their opportunity to a list. And eventually that list gets a little stale hearing about that opportunity, so they go market something else. They don't stop building their business. They continue to do it. I see it happening. But here's the thing. Less than 1/100th of 1% of the people in our profession, probably even less than that, are like that fit that mold. Most people are working a regular job. They're probably trying to build a business part-time, and that takes 100% of your commitment. If you've got 10, 15, 20 hours a week to put to your business, you can't spread that among other opportunities. Okay, it just doesn't work. You've got to be all out and focused in one area. And then if you build a company or an organization to a certain size and you want to stop eventually, hey, that's fine, and you could continue keeping your check. But what you don't do is you don't go and build your beach house with the boards from your main home, which means you don't go and recruit your team into something else because it distracts them. All right. If you're successful and you're making a good income, now's the time to help those people focus even more on your opportunity and really solidify that team. Don't distract them with other opportunities and other money-making things because it's taking away their focus. And they maybe aren't full-time yet. They're probably part-time. So you got to be sympathetic to that. Number 7. Be a product of the product, guys. This has got to be a no-brainer. If it makes sense, you got to be your own customer. I don't want people to go out and buy a bunch of stuff that they're never going to use. I want them to be their own customer because they're committed to their business. All right. I think it leads by example. Obviously, it creates your story. It doesn't matter if you have a product or a service. You've got to have a story that you can tell people, hey, I was spending this and now I spend this. If it's a service business and I'm saving money, or if it's a product business, you have a positive product story to that product. You got to have it. You also need to have samples and things to be able to give people, okay, in order to build your business. And I think that's vital, especially in the wellness business. If you're not offering samples to people, how are they going to benefit? How are they going to see the value in it just based on what you tell them? It's very difficult. Don't use competitor products. What I would recommend doing is what I call a home survey. Take a look. I'll use the product business, for example, to start. If you're in a product-based business that offers maybe a weight loss line and an energy drink line and maybe some other things, do a home survey. If you use things like Red Bull or maybe you've got a bunch of Jenny Craig or maybe some other things that are in your home, do a home survey and eliminate those things of those competitor products that compete with what your company offers and replace them with what your company offers. Even if it's a little bit more in cost, you're supporting your business, you're leading by example, you're creating your story, you're giving yourself samples to work with in your business. Guys, it just makes sense. It's common sense. But the biggest deal is it creates a culture of volume. And that's why I want to talk about for a second, because you could go out and build your business based on one product, and it might make it a little, the conversation a little more simple, but it's a big mistake. Okay. Let me give you an example. And I'm going to assume there's so many different types of products out there and compensation plans and percentages. I'm just going to use this as an example. Let's assume that you're making about $5 per distributor in your team residually. Okay. This might not be a bonus. Maybe I know a lot of companies have, fast start bonuses when we have a customer place their initial product order or service order. So of course, everybody's different, but let's just use this as an example. Let's say you're teaching a one product per distributor culture in your organization. That's $5,000 a month if you build a team of 1,000 distributors. Now, if you have a multiple product per distributor mindset and you average, instead of $5 a distributor, you're averaging 20, that's $20,000 a month in income. That's a big difference. That's why you want to be a product of their products. That's why you want to lead by example and not just use the minimum so you're qualified for auto ship. You're using it, you're creating that culture of being your best customer, because it creates all of those things. It gives you, again, the story, the samples, all that stuff. It gives you that, but it also creates a culture of volume in your organization, and that's vital to creating residual income. You also should acquire some outside retail customers. And I think this is very important. Number one, for legal reasons. You want to stay away from the self-consumption model as much as possible. If you have a good product, you need to get it out there in the hands of people that don't have an interest in the compensation plan. I think this is very important for all network marketing companies. You should have a product that has real value in the marketplace. If it doesn't, if people wouldn't buy it, if there weren't a compensation plan to it, you need to really look at that. And I know, maybe I'm offending some people, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, we're in a product-based industry. Services, products that have real value in the marketplace, we're distributing them differently than retail. That's all it is. It's direct marketing. It's network marketing with real products and services that have real value in people's lives. You should have retail customers. And if you don't, and you can't get retail customers, that means that your product doesn't have value in the marketplace, or maybe you're just not helping people see that value. But I think it's very important for you to create that value and get that value out to retail customers. Don't just get caught up with the recruiting. Yes, you're building a distribution system. Yes, that's your number one goal. I believe in that 100%. I always lead with the business first. I believe creating distribution will create more product in the hands of people quicker, which will create more satisfied customers, which will create more volume, which will create more residual income. But for legal reasons, of course, the attorney generals, they want to see a good product that has real value, that's getting out in the hands of retail users. It also creates security for your residual income, okay? Let's face it, distributors quit, okay? And if they quit and all you have is one product per distributor and all they have is their auto ship, when they cut that off, there goes your income. But if that distributor has multiple outside customers, then if they happen to walk away, those products, usually those customers who are using that product are doing it not as a favor to them, but because they believe in the product, and that's powerful, okay? And this, of course, dramatically increases your income. Let's use the same example of 1,000 distributors, but now let's say that those let's say you've got 20 retail customers, and that's the culture you create at $50 a month. At a 5% override, I'm just using that as I know some people are 7, some people are 3, doesn't matter. But if that's your commission, that's $50,000 per month. That's in addition to the $20,000 a month you're making just from your team who are being their own best customers. That's the 1,000 distributors, and we're talking $70,000 a month in residual income on a product that has real value in people's lives. That's pretty sweet. All right, that's a pretty good residual income without a very large team. And that's powerful. Number 9, personal development, daily personal development time. This is something you have to create a culture in your team with. This is your most important resource, is your mind. Your battle every day is in your mind. You're always going to be trying to talk yourself out of taking action, picking up that phone, following up with that prospect, staying in the business, changing companies. These are all these things that go on in your mind. All the second guessing and the doubt and the fear, it's all upstairs in between your ears. And so many people underestimate the importance of personal development, and you can't. You've got to schedule the time in. You can't deviate from it. I think at least 30 minutes a day. That could just be 15 minutes in the morning when you wake up. Maybe you're listening to something good while you're getting ready, and then 15 minutes before you go to bed. So many people wake up, they watch the news. And then they would go to bed, they watch the news. And what's on the news? Some 13-year-old kid getting shot by the police, some 12-year-old kid going into a school, shooting up students and teachers, some war somewhere in some country, genocide, and, debt, and the economy's bad. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so negative out there. And I'm not saying you don't need to pay attention to current events. I think it's very important to be connected with our country and your country and be able to contribute and do something about it. So you got to be knowledgeable about that. But you got to combat all that negative stuff with good information. You want to create a budget for your personal development. And you don't need to go crazy. Okay, I don't think you need to be spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go to some seminar in Boca Raton somewhere, or Bora Bora, or Costa Rica. These $10,000 seminars, I think are a little overrated in my experience, and I think too many people are not ready at that level. When you get to millions of dollars in income and you want to take yourself to another level, then you can do the Tony Robbins, $50,000 a weekend kind of thing. But right now, you can get $1 million education on Amazon. They have books, they have audio. I have two kids that are pretty young, 10 and 7 right now. And I've got a wife, and I coach Little League. I'm on the board of Little League. I'm building a multi-million-dollar business. The books that I'm reading at night usually are to my 7-year-old, and we're reading, Fancy Nancy, and we're reading, Junie B. Jones and those kind of stuff. So I don't get a lot of chance to sit down and read. So what I do is I subscribe to audible.com, and I can download MP3 books on MP3 straight to my phone, straight to my iPad. When I go to the gym, I can listen to a book. And guys, you could do that. You could listen to a book in one workout session, and you could get years and years and years worth of education in a few months. And it's so powerful. It can really, really help you. And the bottom line is your business is only going to grow as far as you do and as fast as you do. So many people want to put the cart before the horse. They want to have success. They want to be successful. But that requires you to change your belief systems and your mindset, and that takes some time. But you can speed it up by participating in some daily personal development. And then number 10, of course, you can't quit. It's so funny. Guys, you have to understand, you can't have long-term residual income if you're not in something long-term. I mean, you've got to build it first, and you got to put in the time to build it. And I saw a quote one time, and I don't know if there's been actual studies done by it, but I certainly have seen it in my organization. 90% of network marketers that stay with their current company for 10 or more years reach their top pin level. This was Mark Gardell in your first year in network marketing. Now, that's pretty powerful if you think about it. If you think about the fact that if you can just stick with it. Now, of course, you can't just use the product for 10 years, never talk to anybody. That I think this comes with, some common sense here. The reality is, if you're following your basic system consistently, following that 5x5 plan, and you're following these core commitments, and you're teaching this to your team, you're doing that for 10 years, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs, but eventually those ups and downs, the downs become a lot less impactful in your business, and your ups stay more consistent. And all of a sudden you reach this level of consistent growth. And if you stick with it, it continues to happen, and you continue to grow. You continue to get better. Your business gets better. And, of course, all things being equal, the company and products stick around, that kind of thing. There's no reason you can't be successful in your company. I want to run through a couple of things here, just some final thoughts to leave you with before I let you go. There's a saying out there that people do what you do. I don't believe that at all. I think that people that are ready to follow your lead will do what you do, okay? Don't look at your back office report and say, why isn't this person doing that? It's the worst thing you can do in the world is to look at your back office and ask yourself that question, why? Look for activity, and that's where you focus your time. Look for people that deserve your time. And I know there's people out there who think that the people who aren't doing something are the ones you should be spending the time with. That's really not the case, okay? Spend your time in activity, and then what will happen is the people who aren't doing anything, when it comes time for them to follow your lead and when they want to do something, they will do it. I have had people that I enrolled 2 or 3 years ago that didn't do anything. that have been on the product, using the product, and all of a sudden out of the blue, they'll call me and say, you know what, Ben, I'm ready to go. But here's the thing. If I stop doing, if I stop building, if I disappear, if I stop putting out training, if I stop leading by example and bringing people in and getting promoted, if I stop doing all that, they have nothing to follow when it comes time for them to want to be led. Okay, so that's the idea is you don't quit, you keep going, you keep pushing through that process. Something else that's very important. You can't confuse time in the business with time building it. I see this as a really big cause for people quitting in network marketing. They think, oh, well, I've been in the business for 3 years. And you can't see me right now, but I'm doing two very large air quotes. I've been in the business for 3 years, and this person's been in it for 3 years, and they're at the top, and I'm still at the starting position. My first 3 years in network marketing, I maybe worked a total of a month's worth of effort. I had 24 people on my team after 3 years, and I paid for 23 of those to join. Okay, none of them did anything. But if you looked at it from where the average person comes from, they would say, well, I've been in the business for 3 years, and I'm not making what I thought I would make. I was making exactly what I should have been making. I was not in the business for 3 years. I was associated with it. I was not actively building it for 3 years, okay? You can't confuse time in the business with time building it. One of the best things that I ever did was find Tim Sales' Pocket Tracker, and I kind of took it and created my own version to my specific company. But this activity tracker really helped hold me accountable. It showed me that even though it was always on my mind, I really wasn't doing what I thought I was doing. I wasn't really taking the action that I thought I was. And that's the thing. Guys, it's always on our mind, right? I mean, we're thinking about it 24/7. We're thinking about the compensation. And I can't tell you how many times I drew out 3, 9, 27, 81, 243, 729, 2187, 6,541. I can't tell you the number of times that I did that. I can't tell you the number of times where I would be thinking about creating a flyer and creating different versions of it over the years and never putting it out there, though. I can't tell you the number of times that I made a list and never called the people. But at the end of the day, I would feel that I worked so hard in my business. Oh boy, I sure worked hard on my business this week, but I didn't show the business. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't follow up with anyone. I didn't train anyone. I didn't gather a customer. I wasn't doing the activities that created results. I was doing busy time stuff that distracts you, that helps you procrastinate. And that's something you have to understand. If you're not getting the results that you hoped for financially from your business, ask yourself, what does your daily activity tracker look like? Or what does your calendar look like? Is it filled with a lot of follow-up calls to first look exposures and second look exposures? Is it filled up with presentations and meetings and events? Or is it filled up with nothing? And that typically is the case. People don't fill their business and their schedule with income producing activities. They fill it with busy work and procrastination activities, and that leads to them questioning whether this profession works or whether their opportunity works. And therein lies the shiny penny syndrome, where the next company comes along and promises them more money for less effort. They don't have to do anything, and then they're gone. And before they know it, over the next 5 years, they've been in 10 or 11 different companies, and they haven't made anything, and there comes the bad experience and the bad reputation of network marketing. It can all be eliminated and prevented by you understanding that you're going to get out of this what you put into it. And that means consistent effort for 3 to 5 years. And you cannot get away from that. Another one, don't compare your results to other people. It's not fair. Someone who has massive results a lot quicker than you maybe has spent years developing themselves. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they're at. They could have been successful in another company. I see this a lot with people who come into my team who are very successful rapidly. Typically, it's because they were in another company. They've been through their learning curve in network marketing. They've skinned their teeth. They've paid their dues, right? They've been through everything. And then you've got a new person just starting out in the profession, and they see that person getting promoted quickly and reaching the top income earners list quickly, and they get this what I call woe is me syndrome. What's wrong with me syndrome? They ask themselves that, maybe this isn't for me, and what am I doing wrong? The reality is you're not doing anything wrong. This person's just been doing it longer in another place. It's no different. Adversity is part of building and part of success. You cannot have success in anything without failing at something first and challenging yourself and learning and growing. That's where success comes from, is trying something and saying, well, that didn't work. Let me try this. We've heard that Thomas Edison, found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb, right? We could go on and on about this, but the reality, guys, is expect to have some adversity and welcome it. I always tell people, be excited when you experience a new challenge, because it means that you are putting another notch on your leadership belt. You're going to now have the ability to help another person through that challenge as well. And that ability to empower someone else is worth millions of dollars, guys. That's what it's all about. It's not about you. It's about what you empower other people with and the skills and the abilities you give to other people. So the more tough stuff you can run into, guys, the more people you're going to be able to help. And then ultimately, to avoid this giving up and quitting on yourself and your dreams, lean on your upline and the system and the support. I talked earlier about having those crutches to lean on, having those different things to fall back on. It's so vital. I can't tell you. You're going to want to quit throughout this process in your career or network marketing. Everyone does. And here's the thing, guys. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You could be making a lot of money. I've seen people who are making $50,000 a month with their company walk away and go to a different company. You're going to question what you're doing, okay? It's inevitable. We're human beings. We have subconscious, belief patterns and all these different psychological challenges and things that we're dealing with, so it's inevitable. Lean on your upline for support. Before you give up on your dreams, before you walk away from a good company and an opportunity that you fell in love with at one point, go back and reconnect with them and talk to them. Let them know what you're dealing with. Share with them some of the challenges that you're having. Now, don't complain. There's a difference here. So many people try to justify why they're going to quit by complaining. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is going to your upline and saying, you know what? I'm having a gut check moment here. I need you to kick me in the butt. I'm starting to doubt myself. Always put yourself first, not the company. I'm starting to doubt myself and my abilities and my commitment. And that's leading me to question the product, the company, the compensation, whatever, okay? And get coaching from someone who's qualified to do it. Plug into your support system. Always attending your events, always plugging into those webinars, those calls, those meetings, those events, those national events. All of those things are your support system, guys, and they're going to help you stay in the game. You can't be successful long-term if you're not in something long-term, and that's what it comes down to. So hopefully you take some of these things, and you don't have to adopt all of them, but I would take a serious look at designing something for your team to buy into. That's what we've done. It's helped a lot. So guys, thank you so much for plugging in, and I wish everyone success in their business. Thanks, guys.